That's the title of this talk. So, right here in America, we're not, let's say, calling everyone out, but there's something fishy going on. There's something serious going on. When all the Muslims, if we formed MANA, Muslim Alliance of North America, if the job of MANA back 20 years ago was to give the American indigenous Muslims a platform, because ISNA and ICNA, they've grown so big that we don't have a platform, right? Now all the Negroes that speak on those other platforms, I was offered that platform years ahead of them. I was offered that in 81, first time in 81. The next time Dr. Jamal Badawi was supposed to, he missed a program in Iowa, and Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It was a winter program, and they asked me to come speak on, because I used to be the main speaker on that MSA platform, and they said the same thing, Imam Musa. If you could just stay away from those Iranians, we like you, and I said, no. I said, I told y'all that several months ago. If Iranians come and ask me to stay away from you, I became a Muslim to be in good relations with all Muslims, Indians, Pakistanis, Arabs, Negroes, everybody. Iranians too, because they were trying to isolate the Iranians in those days. Imagine today, the Iranians, the MSA, ICNA, and all of them are holding hands. They're all holding hands. You know who's on the outside? Me. On the outside, now when we say Iranians, I want everybody to understand, I'm not talking about the Islamic government in Iran. I'm definitely not talking about the leadership structure, Walayati Faqih, who we are very pleased with. But there are people, when the Shah fell, they had Salaki agents here, they had all kind of influential personalities already here in the United States. They had already infiltrated our groups, those groups, the Iranian groups. If they infiltrate Negro groups, you think they're not going to infiltrate Iranian groups, right? Many of those people are in power right now. I know that they have a bad program. Why? Because we had decades of close camaraderie. We know the difference between the brothers that went back home. I mean, it was a very elevated level that we were on, because they know they got they stuck in the back by everybody here but me. They knew that. They knew. That's why, remember I said at the Daftar, the office down there. Yeah. When I first came here, they was getting rid of all the Negroes. That's why when I first came here in '89, I wanted to know, hey, by the way, you know, now I would just keep my ear open, who in D.C. had been kind of employees of the intersection down there. And I knew 95% those are police. I've been here 30 years and it's proved to be 97% accurate. That means almost 100. Yeah, that the people, because that's the way it goes. But anyway, let me get back to the point, because I got to pick up. This stuff started taking a long time. So the people who were working against each other in the old days are now working with each other. Right? I saw Dr. So-and-so on Press TV last week. Those are the same brothers that work against us. I'm not going to go in detail, but all of those people, all of the staff at WPFW, not all of the staff because they got to have a few serious people, but I watched when I came here, very detailed, where everybody was, what they did. There's no such thing as an alternative media. It's not alternative media. They handpicked, I don't care who writes the books. Noam Chomsky is handpicked. He is the government professor to revolutionize everybody. So what do you do? For the last 50 years, if you want to, if you're just a citizen, you hear something on WPFW, you call, I want to help the movement, Dr. Chomsky. They said, great, come on by. So now you're on the list, right? Because you heard a great lecture by a great professor, a good lecture. You're not going to hear it from me, because you would call me then. But you're going to hear it from him. That's why they handpicked. So all the serious people that want to do right, they go to them. Why do everybody copy everything we say? They have to copy because they're not saying nothing, right? But soon as something jump off, they mumble it just like we've been all the time. So that since I'm isolated, only 5 or 10 people are going to hear our message, right? All the people that would have heard it and been the 500 people that would have heard that and reacted to it, they're going to call them. They're going to call the Negroes, the hand-picked Negroes. That's what Malcolm called them. Everything we do, they're hand-picked Negroes. It was then, imagine now. If they was hand-picked Negroes then, the Big Six, I don't know if you ever heard the Big Six. You ever heard about the Big Six down there? Right. Down at the Malcolm talking about the Big Six. He's talking about how they arranged the March on Washington, everybody jumping up and down. He's telling how Kennedy did this, they did that, and how they rearranged everything. Totally away from King, what he wanted. Right. The message is different. They didn't salt and peppered it up. They didn't Joan Baez'd it, right? Hey, man. All right. So that's 60-something years, 50-something. What do you think about now? That's almost 60 years ago, 57. What about now? That's why that demonstration that they've had all over the country was designed. Nobody with any experience was involved in it at all, right? No clear-cut agenda at all. Remember when we were down that other day, the kids walked by, they all had their Black Lives Matter shirts on, and they walked by us. I don't know if you saw them. They were rolling their eyes at me. Why would they roll their eyes at me? Why, if they were serious, they'd come over and say, yeah, bro, we was listening to what you're saying. Hey, man, that makes sense.
It was just a photo op for them. So they just went by us and set up a camera to take pictures of that. That's all.
That's all. And there's nothing. What's the message now? Where are the people at now? People is gone. They got to depend on Congress and everybody else to give them something. Why there's no alternative agenda there with all of them people? All the stuff we talk about is practical, it's functional, and that's the only thing can work. Nowadays, the stuff that they have, you can't, remember we talked about reform and revolution. Revolution is when you just change the whole thing. Reform is when you put a few little pieces here and there. We said neither one of those. We don't want revolution, nor do we want reform. We want evolution. That the human being sees where you want to go, and Allah gives them the ability to evolve stage after stage till they can reach that goal. Because, as the old saying, I'd rather know where to go and not know how to get there than how to get there and not know where. It's a riddle. The West can get anywhere if they make a plan, if they want to go to the moon, they want to dig a hole in the ground, they can get there. Right? They can get there. They don't know where though. If we figure out where we want to go, Allah will show us a way to get there. Because it's better to know where you want to go and not know how to get there than how to get there. You got everything. They can push two buttons, push up, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with the economy. They're sticking all patchwork together, and it all comes out oppression for the human family, not goodness for the human family. Right? Okay. So here we are with goodness. Let me pick up a little bit. Dar al-Hijra, same thing. We told them, look, when they started having problems with the government, we told them, they arrested a few of the brothers, he'd say, here's what you do. You buy each one of those families a new house, let's say 5-bedroom house, a new Benz, because Dar al-Hijra, they got all that money. And everybody that get arrested, that's what they get. And full support. They did the opposite. They break out and run, and they hide, and they got scared. So, that showed the government, see, remember, if they oppress you and they say it builds your support, they got to stop. But if they scare you, they're coming back again and again. And that's what we was trying to tell the people from our experience. Nobody want to listen to the Negro. Right? Nobody want to listen to the Negro. And our Negroes, hand-picked Negroes, so gave away our birthright. They all speak on the platform. If we was fixing manna so we would have a platform of our own, why I don't get to speak on it? Why I never got to speak on it? How I could have my hand raised and they would look around me. They would. Zayd, Siraj, them, all of them. The mushmouth Negro up in New York, all of those people. Hassan Bagby, they play like you don't exist. Now remember, I'm speaking about this now, but I put up with this. If they start running their mouth, I'll just roll out what they did and how they did it, and I'll tell the people what you did, what you think. You think that I'm doing this, that, and another? Well, I'll show the people how I put up with this stuff for 15, 20, when they turned their back on me in 88. 88 was tons of years ago. Was that 30-something years ago? 88, that was 32 years ago. All the Negro imams turned their back when we was at this headquarters. So I told them, ask 4 questions. 8 brothers turned around. I said, that's all right. I said, the white man gonna stick his foot in everybody's behind. Of course they remember. Yeah, but that's 32 years ago. So this is not new. CARE. We would have demonstrations with CARE and everything. We had to go down there and have programs in front of CARE, and they wouldn't even come out and talk to us. I would show them, you know, think of the pictures that I'm being arrested almost naked in Oakland, right? And they won't come out. And the people down in Texas, what's the old man, Meeks now? Yeah, old Meeks. Mm-hmm. You ought to see the money those white folks is raising from the Muslims talking about their illegal fund, because those people are endowed with the worship of sajda to white folks. They got it bad. They love white folks, and they feel inferior to white folks, and they act it too. If a white boy accept Islam, I mean, it don't make no difference whether they're Sunni or Shia, the people doing the program here. I mean, over in Iran. I'm trying to think of the white boy. Supposed to took his Shahada. Used to come on RT, I think about it. And he took his Shahada, he's so spiritual. And I looked at the same one I talked to him. And the same one that he has to do the stuff with me, he has the National Negro plastered on all over the stuff they do. Nobody in America believes the National Negro at all. The National Negro is the National Negro. That's his job. He was there during Malcolm's time to get rid of him. He wanted his job and he got it. The National Negro is the National Negro. Okay? They sent Marziah Hashemi around this country to go and pick out the people that they pick out and take to Iran. Now have nothing to do with nothing. So when I be over to the Daftar House sometime, a while back, you see the Negroes coming in there to get their passport stamped and all that to go to Iran. I said, hey, guess what? Here's a guy telling me not long ago, Imam Musa, I tried to show the brothers, that take the brothers to Najaf and Karbala and explain to them what is going on. I said, them niggas don't know nothing about Najaf and Karbala. And here you have Mr. Najaf and Karbala explaining to them in detail better than they can. See, that's the relationship between us and Iran. In the beginning, when we would go talk to places, we would almost be telling them this is what Iran is going to do. They would ask me, Imam Musa, what are we going to do next? They would ask me. They from Iran. And Dr. Siddiqui was the same way. Dr. Khalid Siddiqui, all of his books, if you read all his old art, he had Iran down pat. And he could explain it to the so-called Sunnis. And hey, man, when Dr. Siddiqui said, well, Imam Musa, the essence of everything that's good, I didn't even hear that because I must have went to the bathroom when I finished speaking and he came up after me. I didn't even know he had said it till I listened to it here. I said, dog, Doc. I said, man, that's deep stuff. Then I said, that's why they turned on the brother when I was sitting, right after all of them, the Zafar Bangash, Muhammad Al-Asi, the whole crew. Muhammad Al-Asi been praying outside for 35 years or more, something like that. Why? Because you can't build a community out there on the street. Can't build a community out there on the street. When the Iranians here in the U.S. start acting a certain way, I knew that something was wrong with them. Because if they were like our brothers that went back home and some of the others here, that are still, a few of them that are still here, they wouldn't do what they was doing. Because they, from ethics and morals, they would say, no, that's Imam Musa, I'm not going to do that. Well, it's for, no, I don't care what it's for. I ain't going to do it. He stuck with us when nobody, and they know that's what happened. This guy was with us when nobody was with us. Or they might have been with us, but we didn't trust them, and they sure didn't act like it. Imam Musa never made any mistakes like kicked a bucket of milk. Oh, excuse me, like Negroes do. Kicked the whole bucket of milk over and it's all gone. And, oh, it's an accident. I never did none of that. Never. So they can't go back nowhere. So, and then when I asked them a few months back last year, the year before last, December 2018, hey man, I just need a little help. That's the only lecture I had. And they act real funny. And just to show what they thought about it, they had Marzia Hashimi working. That's when you know how they're working. With the government, they arrest her, and everybody's got all these demonstrations. Marzia, Marzia, right? And what about the brother? What about the brother? You see what I mean? I didn't say, oh, you. I just said, oh, okay, I got it now. You know, I'm just trying to say is, when we came here, this is what we want to learn. Okay, I'll speed it up. Ikhwan, Tahrir Square, Islamic Human Rights Commission in London, Masood Shajari. They sent me on a wild goose chase. Of course, I was glad because I've never been to Zurich, Switzerland. You know, I've been to a lot of places, but I just hadn't been to Zurich, Switzerland. So they popped up, we got a program, we want you to be the honored guest. So I went out to Dallas. First plane I got on, they said, they ain't going nowhere. And the pilot came on, he said, this has never happened before. In other words, maybe they was trying out their terrorist program and say, how can we do it? You know, just test it like they do everything else. Okay, now we're going to tell the pilot, now we're going to tell, and the pilot says, this has never happened before. But we didn't take off. Then when we finally did take off on another plane, right, we got the connections, somewhere in here, got the connections later on. We didn't get them at our regular connecting flight. That means they will do that. Some of the people was gonna go to Africa and other places. Do you know that they had to get them hotel rooms sometime for another day because it wasn't gonna be a flight. They'll spend all that, look, the money they'll spend for a little, when I got to Zurich, I went to the designated hotel. First of all, there was nobody there to meet me, so I said, well, I'm gone. Because they should be there to meet you. I mean, that's what they all know. So I got the rundown on the program that wasn't happening there. What is, at this hotel,